need old bones. I can't even do this right. What the f*** I'm teaching? Whoo! I scared my dog on that one. Thanks for checking out the video, Casual Weirder. Not only scared my dog, I scared my articulation right out of my mouth. Today we're going to talk about an old set, Antiquities, which is from 1994, which is insane to think about how long ago that was. I was actually playing the game when it first came out back in '94. I didn't know shit about it really, and I just was like really interested in just the biggest creatures possible. You know, the kitchen table magic with my buds. That's all we cared about, was getting like Force of Nature on the table and like Leviathan and all these huge creatures and Lord of the Pit, the 7/7. These classic cards back in the day. That was the shit, is getting those guys. 1994 though, so long ago. I imagine most people that may watch this video weren't born yet. They weren't even like so the date night that your parents got together and like got it in, that hasn't happened yet. You weren't even conceived. You weren't a sperm or an egg yet. So Antiquities, as said, is only 85 cards. That's also pretty crazy because 85 cards, they have like 85 variations of new cards in these new sets. If you haven't been introduced to any Antiquities yet, like, this isn't an education. This is just a dude talking on YouTube, possibly to nobody at all, about his opinion on the set. So there's no real value here. With all these old sets, the artwork is very charming. Not a lot of power. There's not a lot of power in this set in terms of creatures. Their power defense is relatively low. And also, a lot of the cards in this set are, it's Antiquities, so a lot of them are artifacts. 43 of the 85 cards are artifacts. Some of them creatures, some just straight up artifact. I sound like a broken record at this point, but what really draws my attention to the artwork on the cards that tell a story, or that you can interpret some sort of story from the artwork, or that there's some sort of crossover. I always like, it's kind of fun, like little Easter eggs, when you have crossovers of one card with another card in this set, or even, other sets, perhaps. But one of my favorite ones in this set is Yogmoth Demon. Demons in general are really cool. I think they're really gnarly. In this, it kind of looks like there's another card in the set, Wall of Spears, which we'll talk about later. But it looks like there's like, behind the demon, there's this wall of spears, so it looks like that battleground has been set, and the demon in this picture, it looks like he's either about to enter into battle, but most likely looks like he just kind of finished or got out of battle. There's that orange sky behind him, which kind of like, the fires and the smoke. So there's like, he just set shit on fire. It's kind of the aftermath, and he's like checking the end of his spear to make sure it's still sharp. And he's like it's weird because he has like this bony appearance, and most demons, so it's a very untraditional look. And I like that this demon's kind of alone. He's kind of introspective of what he's just done, but happy about what he's just done, where he's slayed an entire army, and he's like happy about it, and he just ended generations of a family's name, and he just killed the children of many mothers that will be waiting in their villages, and they'll find that their children or their husbands aren't coming home, and their whole lives are different, and the whole history has been changed because of this Yogmoth Demon. Like, what a shame. What a shame. Then another favorite card is Sage of Latnam. This guy just looks exactly like a sage. I don't know what a sage is. I love his like long, well-kept beard. That's, that looks like it's longer than it could possibly grow in a lifetime. And I just love that he has like this quiet confidence, like he's seen shit and he doesn't care who you are, what you want, and just like calm and cool and collected, that he's dangerous. He's one of those kind of people. Like Uncle Istvan from The Dark is like a different kind of terrifying. And I love like the dark tone of the card, and he just has this library, which he's probably read every book in there, 100 times over. and it's just this darkness is set behind him. He has this like candlelight, and it's just very mood setting. And it reminds me also of another favorite card in this set of Jalem's Tome. I'm not sure if it's Jalem's Tome or I think that's how you say it, but I just love the darkness. It's the same kind of aesthetic look as the Sage, where it's just got this looming feeling of darkness. And the Amulet of Krug, it's this weird positioning. I don't know if I can recreate it, but it's just like, you know, it just, I can't even do this right. You know, in cards now, I don't know what part of the card, I don't know if there's like a name where, now it says like, it says where the creature type is. It says creature dash what kind of creature it is, or it says like an instant or sorcery. Back in the day, like when you were summoning a creature, it would say summon, and in this case, it says like the Argothian archaeologist. It says summon archaeologist. You know, if I'm like this great sorcerer who's trying to defeat my opponent, I want to do it with, I want to summon a dragon. I need to summon dragons. No, that's not right. No, that won't be enough. I need to summon a Leviathan. That doesn't feel right still. I know what I need. I need to summon an archaeologist. Yes, a 1/1 archaeologist. That'll do the trick. I need old bones! You know, anytime there's trees in Magic, it's funny. Every set, they always have really powerful trees, which makes sense. If anybody out there has ever taken like a theater class, and it's one of the go-to jokes about theater and actors is like, become a tree, pretend you're a tree on stage, or, you know, when you're a kid and you're in a play in like elementary school, sure enough, you always have some kids that are just like, a goat, a stone, a tree, like be a tree. And that's exactly what this looks like. The tree folk just look like actors.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
I also love the Citadel Druid, this peaceful countryside. And I think what I like about this is like, the older that I get, the more I appreciate the things like that, you know, my parents did, and just older generations when I was a kid. Like, I didn't understand why people wanted certain things, but just looks like this peaceful countryside. Just looks like something very comfortable, and I want to be there because this world is such a chaotic place, and you know, just the responsibilities of adulting. It's such like a different experience from when you're a kid, where you didn't have to worry about all the things that you worry about in life when you're older. And just this peaceful countryside on this druid just makes it feel like, hey, everything's gonna be okay at the end of the day. And I just love the overall tone and feeling of this card. Staff of Zagon. This dude, he just seems like so out of place. He looks like a modern dude. He's got this sweet ass mohawk going on. He's got this awesome goatee. He kind of looks like Nicolas Cage, and just looks like he should be, you know, strutting his stuff on the walkway, showing off his staff with his sweet mohawk. And actually it goes along with this card, the Zenith guys. These guys are like dancing. You know, this guy at the bottom with them. The Zenith guys. Between them, that staff is down, dude. They're like having a little party back in the 2 days. Yeah. Showing off my staff. And there's this card, Reverse Polarity, which it's so bizarre. It's like the primitive version of shooting a apple off a friend's head. I guess that's kind of like what it would be compared to, or like modern magicians like tossing knives at, you know, people sprawled out on in a board, and they're just going around, and you have the dude chucking knives, and you're like, what is happening? But this reverse polarity is just like a dude. He's like making a muscle, and he's just like, hit me, go ahead, hit me, I dare you. And he's like, I'm not gonna. And his friend's like, I'm not gonna hit you, man. I'll like kill you. I'll break your arm off. I'll cause irreparable harm to your body. And the dude's just like, no, trust me, bro. Just hit me. So the dude swings, and he's got this, you know, I had to look this weapon up because it's like a mace, but on a chain. and he swings it. It's called a flail, and he swings and it just bounces off this dude's muscle, and he's like, see, I told you. And his friend has this face of like, holy shit, like, what the f*** I'm teaching? So there is a card, Wall of Spears, that kind of has a crossover with another set, or other sets I should say, of not so much in the artwork, but in the flavor text it mentions a crawworm. It's a 6/4 for, I think it's cost 6, and it mentions pikemen. Mention of this in the flavor text of the Wall of Spears. It says, even the most conservative generals revised their tactics after the Battle of Corinth, during which a handful of peasant pikemen held off a trio of rampaging crawworms. Kind of put that in perspective. So the Wall of Spears obviously is only a 2/3 creature, but with the help of some peasant pikemen, and a pikeman, there's this from the dark, they're just 1/1s, relatively easy to defeat, but they're able to take off 3 crawworms, which were incredibly powerful back in the day. 3 6/4 worm pike. They had pikemen, little 1/1 guys, and these Wall of Spears, and together they were able to take out these 3 crawworms. I just think it's a really cool crossover into showing how effective this Wall of Spears really is. I don't know if this was a crossover, but you guys be the judge on this one. So there's this card, Colossus of Sardia, or Sardia, I don't know, and it's a 9/9 creature, which is enormous. Even now, 9/9 is huge. Flavor text on this card kind of is what ties in to another, this weird, creepy card. From the Sardian mountains wakes ancient doom, warrior born from a rocky womb. And I was like, what is a rocky womb? Symbolically, it probably means built in the mountains or rocky terrain. That's where this creature comes from. But when I think of a rocky womb, when I look at this card, Gate to Phyrexia, this is a really bizarre looking card. This artwork is kind of like the inside of, might be, a rocky womb. But the colors and the shading, it doesn't necessarily look like inside a cave of a mountain. What it looks like to me is that this is like a PO version of inside, this is like the birthing process of a human, or maybe even a poop. Maybe you're inside a butt or a vagina, but this camera looks like it's looking out, and it makes me think that this Colossus of Sardia is like, this is its POV of being birthed out of the Gate of Phyrexia, if you know what I mean. Is this TMI for YouTube? I don't know. This is where the Colossus came from. This is the womb from which it was birthed. This is it. And usually there's a point in every video where I go over the inconsistencies, or just my opinion of inconsistencies between the power and defense of a creature and the way that it looks, like its artwork. There's not a lot of that going on in this set. Most of the creatures are pretty weak. But for example, like the Colossus is 9/9. And that could be true. For example, I don't have perspective of how big that thing actually is. It looks like it could be big, so I have no problem saying that it's a 9 power and 9 defense. That could make sense if we had some sort of reference point, like another creature or landscape or something, to really see how big or little this is. And I know the size of something doesn't always mean that it's going to be powerful, and vice versa. Something really small could be really strong. Obviously, that goes without saying. For the purposes of entertainment value alone on YouTube, and I know a lot of the ability of a card actually ties into the artwork as well. But I like just to look at the picture of the creature and its power and defense and see if it makes sense. That said, again, there's really not much of that going on. However, there are the Argothian Pixies, which are a 2/1, and these are tiny little, like pixies and fairies. I don't know if they're the same thing. They might be, or maybe like pixies are a subspecies of fairies, or vice versa. I have no idea. But the thing is, they're just tiny little things. Again, there's no reference in this artwork other than some of the nature involved, which makes me think that these things are really little. But so being a 2/1 in relative terms and power and defense to some of the other creatures, which are something like the 1/1 archaeologist. So these pixies are stronger than a full adult male. I know he's just an archaeologist per se, but I'm pretty sure he could step on or mosquito smash these pixies. So it's a little off, but these pixies can also kill a dwarven weaponsmith. Doesn't make sense to me. Human druid, priest of Yogmoth, Phyrexian gremlins, and then they can kill the Atog. None of this makes sense, and it just makes me say, what the f***? That's the Gathering. And speaking of the Atog, every creature should just have like a smiling, straight on, basically headshot, like for their high school yearbook of whatever plane they happen to be in, like the Atog, just like a. I think they can bring it home to mom and dad and just show them like, here's my high school photo, and they overpay some crazy amount just to get these stupid shots that you look at for like a week, and your parents send to all your family, friends, and your relatives, and they have to pretend that they care, and that they care about your life, and they care about like their friends' kids, and they look at it and they might put it on a fridge to be nice when you come over, but in 2 years' time it ends up in the trash or a Goodwill shelf or whatever. But anyway, all these creatures should have a high school yearbook photo like Beavis and Butthead Atog here. It's a classic, and it makes me chuckle. Thanks for checking out the video, guys, and I look forward to making the next vid. And if you have any comments or suggestions on sets to review, I'd love to hear it. And yeah, so stay casual and stay magical.